Welcome back, everybody. Derek Sue, your East Oakland advocate. Well, bad news. The A's are leaving, and it is now official. Uh, as of yesterday, the Oakland A's signed a binding deal for land in Las Vegas, and it's a 49-acre site that they just purchased, and they are expected, or the team announces that they expect to be moving in to that stadium somewhere around 2027. So some of the things that still hasn't happened there in Las Vegas, uh, and very similar here to Oakland, um, where they purchased Alameda County's portion of the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum. And so here they're stuck with a piece of property here in Oakland that they're going to need to get rid of because they're only half owners. They're not full owners. And so the city of Oakland and the John Fisher Group that own the other portion. It's going to be interesting to see what happens and who's going to do what, because we know that the property is in very poor shape. There's a lot of folks that say, well, why didn't John Fisher just build a new a stadium there at the old Coliseum site? Well, number one, there's a lot of issues that date back to when it was created. Number one is the egress water sewer system, and it's been a huge problem since day one. And the reason why it's a big problem is because the actual playing field where the ball players are, is 20 feet below sea level, below sea level. And so that's why there's a lot of drainage issues. And then plus the amount of concrete that was put into that marshland to help create the base foundation and the dams that completely surround the playing field. I mean, there's an actual dam, a concrete dam that is underneath the Coliseum and the playing field. And so uh, it would take a tremendous amount of money to dig all of that up again and start anew. So it's not financially feasible to rebuild on that, and it's better to leave that foundation in place rather than trying to remove it, because it's going to disturb a lot of sediments and toxins that are now capped from all of that concrete on top of it. And again, like I said, this was formerly marshland, so it's very unsettling. It sits well below sea level, and so these are just issues that are insurmountable for a new stadium, and perhaps even making it higher, which is what they did. Uh, if you see how the arena is created and how the stadium is created, it is placed on uh, a raised section, and then it goes down into that. That raised section uh, maintains all the seating all the way down to ground level. Uh, and anyway, building a new stadium at the old site is not feasible, and so um, I don't know what the Oakland A's owner John Fisher is going to do with their portion of the Coliseum, but we'll have to wait and see. They just acquired the property, the land in Las Vegas, and again, like I said, they don't have all the things that they need in place. They still have to put the financial structuring together, because they're talking about $1.5 billion for that new stadium. $1.5 billion, and they're talking about putting a movable roof on there, because we know in summer it gets beastly hot in Las Vegas, 115, 120 degrees. So uh, Arizona Diamondbacks are an example of why you don't want to play in the heat. and the Diamondbacks, they're in Arizona, and that's 115, 120 degrees, and baseball players trying to play out in that dry desert heat, it's not good for them. It takes its toll very quickly. 115 degrees in a uniform, running and active. Yeah, uh, yeah, not a good combination, and it could bring on health issues for these athletes. So, um, the A's ownership, John Fisher and Dave Cavall, have said that they're going to put an air conditioned stadium in place, 35,000 seat stadium in Las Vegas. And so uh, another team that Oakland is losing to Las Vegas. We lost our beloved Oakland Raiders, which preceded the Oakland A's at the Coliseum, because the Oakland Raiders moved in 1965, if I remember right, and the Oakland A's, they were actually, when they came to Oakland, they were a disgruntled franchise under the ownership of Charles Finley. And so Charles Finley brought the Oakland A's to the Oakland Coliseum out of spite to Kansas City, because they were the Kansas City A's previously, and before that, Philadelphia A's. And so there's been a lot of disgruntled owners that were typical in the early days of baseball, and stadiums. That Oakland at the time had the newest stadium in the United States, and it was a multi-purpose. It was something new that was formed. And so Oakland Raiders came in first with Al Davis. 1967, a deal was struck. In 1968, Oakland A's came from Kansas City to the Oakland Coliseum and became the Oakland A's for 1968 Major League Baseball season. My family and we were some of the first people to help support the team when they first moved here to Oakland and became the Oakland A's. And I have a lot of great memories of those early days. Vita Blue getting his Cadillac. Bat Day was always an event, and a lot of the games. I was never able, my family was not able to afford the World Series tickets during the World Series runs of 72, 73, and 74, because World Series tickets were ridiculously expensive. While we attended the regular season, we attended the playoffs, we could not afford the World Series tickets. And there was a big fiasco in 1987 where the management, the ownership of the Oakland A's, they hosted the All-Star game. It was national televised game here in Oakland, and my family, we held seats right on the third row from the field, and the Oakland A's dugout was my cup holder and food platform. And so that's how close to a field we were, and how close we were to the Oakland A's dugout. And we held those seats for 19 years, from 1968 until the end of 1987. And what happened was that the Oakland A's, they have a bunch of tickets that go out to VIPs and players. And so 2 weeks before the actual game, the All-Star game, all the unused tickets, all the unclaimed tickets nationally came back to baseball. And then the baseball said, okay, you have 5,000 return tickets, and here's so you can do whatever you want with them. And so here's the thing: all of all of us season ticket holders, we were not contacted by the Oakland A's. Oakland A's management and the ticket office decided at that point, rather than contacting the long-term season ticket holders to see if they wanted to upgrade, because what they did to us season ticket holders, we lost all of our first deck, our first row seatings. We had a whole section, and they moved all of us right behind home plate on the third deck near the top of the rim of the Oakland Coliseum. I mean, it was our whole section. We knew everybody in there, and it was a horrible experience. I had my binoculars because I knew that that's the nosebleed section and I wasn't going to be able to see anything. So I brought my binoculars to the game to see who was sitting in my seat during that time. And for the All-Star game, it happened to be the baseball commissioner at that time that was sitting in my seat next to the Oakland A's baseball dugout. And so, number one, we had terrible seats. Number two, we couldn't really see anything. Number two or three is that the steps are so steep. They're almost at a 45-degree angle. So it's almost like going up and down the inside ladders of a ship. It's 45 degrees. It's very steep. If you had mobility issues, then you couldn't get up there. And so uh, rather than, because the Oakland A's office, the ticket office, had everybody's credit card numbers, our information, our telephone numbers, everything. They didn't contact a single person that were season ticket holders to upgrade. And all of us would have been happy to upgrade, pay the difference, and even return the tickets that were issued to us for the seats that we had. But or the Coliseum could have easily, what they should have done was upgraded us, canceled out the tickets that we had in our possession so that they couldn't be used, and then issue us the new ticket around the first deck, because there were 5,000 seats of first deck tickets that were returned 2 weeks prior to the 1987 Oakland Coliseum All-Star game, and it was going to be televised, and it was televised live on TV, and it was very disappointing. It's the game. We couldn't focus on the game. We were all so angry and so mad. In fact, the next season, right after 1987 season ended, and the 1988 season tickets were going on sale, all of the ticket office people contacted season ticket holders like my family, asking us if we wanted to renew, and they were giving us the new costs for the new season tickets, and we just said no, hell no. We know that you don't care about the fans. Here's why we're not going to renew. And they looked at us and said, you have 19 years of supporting and being season ticket holders. And they even offered to reduce the prices a little bit, but not significantly. And my family still said, no, we're not coming back. We're not ever coming back, period. We're not supporting your team anymore. And we've held true to that. I have not stepped foot back in the Oakland Coliseum for another A's game since 1987. So I've gone to a Raiders game in the late 90s, but they're gone. And then the Warriors went across the bay. While they're still kind of here in the Bay, they're not representing Oakland. They're representing San Francisco, even though it's called the Bay, the town, and they still wear a lot of our references. to Oakland, and that's nice to see. But it's still not a team here in Oakland, and so now what we're going to have to do, we're going to have to figure out what we're going to do with an empty baseball stadium starting in 2027, because that's when the A's plan on moving, and they're going to be working on their infrastructure so that they can get everything put in place and constructed in a short amount of time. Which now that they have land and state support by the governor of Nevada, uh, things will move along probably in a much more expedient fashion than Oakland. Oakland has continued to dig in its heels and drag its feet on everything, and they did so many things wrong. Oakland did so many things wrong that we knew that this was going to come to this moment where Oakland A's announced that they will be leaving. So that's what's happened overnight, and so the town has lost all of its sporting souls. We lost the Raiders, we lost the Golden State Warriors, and now we'll be losing the Oakland A's. While we have some new teams coming in, things aren't settled. We have a soccer team that needs a stadium. We have a WNBA team that we're bringing to Oakland. So there are some sporting events that are going to take place, but Oakland's going to look very different in the sporting world. And for good or for bad, it is what it is. Thanks for joining me today. We'll be right back.